Hello, I'm Brandon, and this is RPG Overviews. I am going to be looking at Into the Glowing Depths in this video. It is a level 2 adventure by Michael Curtis for Mutant Crawl Classics, as you can see. So, of course, I will be spoiling this adventure. Don't watch this video, should you maybe play in it. I'll have a link down in the description if you want to pick it up in PDF. I'll also have a link down to the Goodman Games website in case you want to pick up the physical copy here. It's $10. It's got a very cool cover here, like this big monster. It's not exactly what's going on in the adventure, but the adventure is still very, very good. And I must say that this adventure really made me say, wow, much like DCC, Mutant Crawl Classics has just got some excellent, excellent adventures. Definitely the strong point of the game. I will be doing a video in the future about Mutant Crawl Classics, the actual game. It's probably long overdue. It's not all roses. It's got some blemishes, but it's got some good stuff too, and I'll be going through all of that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this adventure here. So we've got a cool bit of art right here. These adventures are going through, obviously, an underwater facility of some sort, and they're going to start with our normal background, starting the adventure, and so on and so forth. So it says it's a second level Mutant Crawl Classic adventure designed for 4 to 6 adventures. It says this scenario takes them beneath the surface of Terra AD's oceans to help a most unusual intelligence thwart an invasion of mutant life forms rising up from the depths, a legacy of humanity's attempt to tame the seas. These creatures have been further changed by the weird radiation and pollution beneath the waves. So the background's very good. It lets you know that there are 2 sea habitats that were made back before the doom of the world, the Tiamat Station and Oceanus. And so Tiamat Station was an underwater laboratory specializing in genetic splicing on biological alterations, while Oceanus was one of the first deep-sea colonies, a network of linked domes erected in the lightless depths to harvest the ocean's bounty. So very cool. So, of course, we had everything go crazy up on the surface, the Great Disaster, and these 2 places underneath the water both began to fall. In essence, what happened was radiation pollution began to seep into the waters, making their predicament even worse. Strange new life forms emerged. Mutations spawned not from a laboratory, but from the black depths of the deep sea trenches. Deprived of supplies from the surface, machinery began to fail. Food and fresh water were something to kill for. And so they pretty much plunged into a dark time. But it says, beneath this ocean surface never forgot the world above. Legend spoke of the ample resources to be found above the waves, waiting to be taken. And as the legends grew, so did the desire for those rumored treasures. So you've got kind of an inverse thing, where it's not like, underneath the surface of the water is where we've got this loot that's ready to be taken, these resources. It's the opposite. They believe in Oceanus that the surface world has got the resources to be taken. So very interesting. So, something never before seen is swimming and crawling up towards the light, an army of creatures birthed from both super science and untamed mutation. They first want to conquer Tiamat Station, and then they're going to take over the surface world. So this is, in essence, a save-the-world adventure, and normally I kind of those adventures. But this has got a small scope, but a scope that's very recognizable, especially if you like movies of this genre. Underwater, sea-based genre movies, much like Leviathan or Deep Star 6. And there's a whole bunch of them. So luckily, there is a living neural network of telepathic connected coral reefs spread throughout the world. And Sheshma 1X6 is part of that network. So it's a huge telepathic coral reef. And what happens is the seed of this worldwide mind has spawned by the genetic tampering of Tiamat Station scientists. A seed that sprouted from the horrific radiations of the Great Disaster further changed it. So it's a very smart coral brain, in essence. And its home is Tiamat Station. And its home, of course, is being threatened. So it needs someone to intervene on its behalf. It can only do so much stuff down there, even with its strong mental powers. They have to save Tiamat Station and stop this underwater menace before it reaches the surface and spreads its brutality beyond the depths that created it. So it's very neat. I really like that story, that there's this big brain that's going to help the adventurers on the surface world come help Tiamat Station and stop this force. So what it does is it does much like an anglerfish and sets out bait to attract creatures smart enough to be able to use it, thus our adventures. And so the trap that's laid is a drone ship. Okay, now you can put this anywhere in your adventure, your campaign or whatever. Your party's going to come across this drone ship. And it's open, it's being ransacked by these tri-eyes, which are pretty cool creatures that are looking through it as well. And of course, the adventurer is more likely going to be very curious about what's inside it as well. So they're going to go in, probably stop these tri-eyes, put them down, and be investigating the drone ship themselves. Of course, hopefully not thinking anything is going to be strange about it, other than what it is, I guess. So you can search through some stuff like the cargo bay. You've got the cockpit. And then we've got an excellent map here. But going back, and I'll be talking about the maps pretty good because I really enjoy them. So one thing I'm going to say here is there is a cockpit that's locked, and there's a way to get into it. Now, one thing I could see, because you're always going to have those adventurers that don't want to go inside something. Something's very cool, but you know what? I'm going to play my own game, and I'm going to kind of stay outside. And that's fine. They're going to stay outside, and they're going to, look for other intruders or other, things that might be trying to attack them from outside, being on guard. And so what I would tell you to do with this door that you can see right here, we've got Tiamat Station, the upper deck, and we've got the bait, the Tiamat drone ship. And here we have one of those tri-eyes. Very cool. They've got eye, and eye where their mouth is, and their mouth is up on their forehead. Very strange. But and it's cool. It shows them kind of looking around in the stuff because it's got a bunch of things to entice people into going inside it. What I would have you do, just because I know how players are, you may have that one person that stays outside. Now, there are some rules in case it starts to take off and they try to jump back in. But what I would do is, should you have someone wanting to play that way, I would have it so that this door cannot be opened. And this is just my own little fix to the adventure because, like I said, I know how players are. It has maybe a series of lights or button pushes or something, and it has to do with however many hands are on there. You have to have a certain amount in order for the door to open. So that will hopefully persuade that person to go inside because they need their hands to press on the button with everybody else doing it so that that door opens up. And then, of course, Sheshma is going to spring her trap, and it's going to close the doors, and it's going to take off. And here's a little bit of the rules right there for if someone wants to try to jump back in. Of course, it's going to rise 5,000 feet before streaking off at supersonic speeds. It's going to plummet down into the water, down deep, and that's going to be very cool for the adventurers now knowing that they are going on an underwater adventure, and it's very cool. And so they're going to end up here in this this airlocked area right here, this docking bay, as you can see right here. Now, the map is just neat. I like the roundness of it. I really enjoyed looking at it. It tells you which doors are sealed and which doors are motion-activated doors. You've got your north right there. I just like the roundness. I like how it was drawn round. It's not blocky or square. It just has kind of a nice look to it. And it's very easy to understand where stuff is. It definitely, if you get the PDF, I would have this separate from the book so you could look at it because there is another map that's going to help you as well of the other decks that it has. So it's going to tell you everything you need. Doors, lighting, there's flooding going on. So in the mid deck and the lower deck, the two decks below the upper deck, there's some flooding. It's about 2.5 feet of chilly seawater due to damage and broken specimen tanks and neglect. And that's going to slow you down as you move through those other areas. So that's going to be pretty neat. One thing that's cool is that the flooded sections are home to many small, harmless sea creatures. Fish, crustaceans, sponges, things like that. And so they're going to be all around their feet and stuff. It's just going to give it a neat kind of atmosphere about it. Now, one thing I would tell you to do with this adventure, and of course I would do, is definitely use some sound effects. It's going to be very easy to get some dripping noises. Who knows what's on YouTube, videos that are, long that have like of a bass or something. And there's maybe some dripping noises or something that you can get some atmosphere into this. Because this is a very atmospheric adventure. Where you're at is just different. It's one of the strengths of post-apocalyptic games, how all of a sudden you're just thrust into this strange area for your adventurers, for your characters, and then you can really ramp up the atmosphere, which of course I love. There's of course airlocks where one door is going to close for the other one to open, and vice versa. They won't be able to open at the same time, and so on. Now, Sheshma is going to be able to instruct the PCs telepathically throughout most of this adventure, which is going to help you in case the adventurers get bogged down, the players get bogged down on what they need to do. Now, one thing that's really great about it, much like those movies I talked about, you're going to have that kind of thing where you're investigating all these different rooms. You're going to be exploring some stuff, and the adventurers are going to need to do stuff in order to get things working. And one of the problems is that there's no electricity. The power has been cut off to this area, and there's going to be a way for them to leave Tiamat Station and go get that energy back to what is needed to get this place going. And that's going to be just a neat excursion that's going to happen. So you've got the docking bay, you've got the repair bay. There's going to be a lot of tools and stuff like that to find. There's no real combat here in this area. This is kind of where you're going to start out kind of exploring, getting some tools and stuff like that might help you. She's going to be able to give you some information as well, and she's going to do this telepathically. This is going to break down everything you need to know. The emergency power is damaged due to geothermal relay located outside this installation. Once it's restored, there's no way to recharge the power cells on the drone ship, meaning the characters are stuck on the station. So that's until they're able to get the energy restored. Life supports will fail in 6 hours, so there's a bit of a time thing that's going on. So you need to try to make sure that's a focus for the adventurers, is to go and return this power to the station, which I just think is neat. And again, it's something you very much see cinematically in a movie, that they need to go out and do that. There's also going to be some explosives that they might be able to use to help stop this incursion of this army that's going to be coming. Repair bay, personnel airlock, likely questions and replies. So that's good if they ask. I'm gonna call it her. They ask her some questions, tell us more about Oceanus. What is this place? You said there are dangerous creatures on the decks below. She'll let them know about those things. Even going into some doors, she'll let you know, hey, look, there's a berserk robot in behind there, which you're going to find right here, the rogue bot. But what's going to be good is there's going to be a comm badge that you'll need. Even though there's not some power, a comm badge will help you open up some of the doors. There's also an elevator that's going to, again, if you can get that power going, a lot of these rooms will be much easier for you. And then one of the things that you need to do is going to be right here. These are going to be these big underwater suits right here in 2-3. And this is going to be an elevator leading you out so that you can actually go and repair that relay station. Now, these suits are very cool, and they've got the stats on the back for them. They're going to help you breathe, and they've got better armor class and stuff like that. You can't take them out of this room. They're too big, so they're kind of confined to there and outside of Tiamat Station, which is a good, smart design, in my opinion. You don't want your players running around in this huge battle armor, pretty much wrecking stuff. But it's going to have that great moment that we've seen in these movies. If it's not underwater, it's in space movies, where you've got the breathing, you can feel the breathing going on, you can make the sound, play some audio or something, as you're going to leave the station to try to repair that relay station. And then here is a dome where you can look outside. The light only goes so far once the lights are turned on. It's got a big gun on top that you can use, and you'll use that dramatically in one of a great battle that's going to happen. And so you're going to be able to make your way down to the mid-deck level. There's going to be some creatures that are going to attack you, some neat water, obviously aquatic creatures. Bioluminescent mussels are here. There's a mutant sea snot that will attack you. It's a purple slime. It's going to try to engulf you. You're going to come across this guy here who has this grenade. He's got this active bracelet that's going to help you open up a door. You're going to need to be very careful, because if this goes off, then you're pretty much destroyed. You and your players, and the adventure is pretty much over. So you got to be very careful about that. There's a good bit of guns in this adventure. Dazer pistols, Gauser pistols, Mazer rifles, a whole bunch of stuff like that, stun grenades and things. And then here we've got the mid deck and the lower deck. So more places for you to traverse as you go from down to the mid deck down to the lower deck. And here you're going to have various rooms that were part of the scientist rooms, the laboratories. There's going to be where they have the power for the station, and a med bay. So very cool stuff that you can explore down here. A lot of creatures are going to try to attack you, busting up out of the water. And then here we've got where they meet Sheshma. I think that's how you say it, Sheshma. And so that's pretty cool. You can also do this hybridization lab. You can get these things implanted in you, and they could drastically change who you are, maybe give you new body parts, new mutations, much like gills, or let you be able to breathe underneath the water, or endure the the depths of the being underneath the water. So it's in essence helping you. But if you make a fumbled roll here, it will pretty much destroy you. So, very deadly, but it's got some really cool things should you be able to survive the change to your body. So, acclimation, augmentation, alteration, and restore. This one right here removes all mutations and defects, including those implemented by the hybridization system. So like humanoids become zero level pure strain humans, while mammals and plantians turn into their ancestral genotypes, losing all anthropomorphic qualities. Make sure I say that correctly. So yeah, you've got to watch out with these things or they will kill you, but it could really pay off for you too. So you'll be able to see her. Here she is. There's rules in case you want to kill her for some reason. I mean, she's only helping you out, but you know how players might be. Here's a great piece of art here by Doug Kovacs with some of the adventures, some of the machinery, and there she is up there. Awesome art. She can also do this thing called mind expansion. It can, in essence, for pure strain humans, give you more intellect. So that's pretty cool. But of course, it can also make you brain damage, so that's not great. So you don't maybe want that to happen to you. Medical Bay's got some cool stuff in it for you. Life support and power distribution. But then you got the wet garage. You got a secure storage, which has got a lot of really big-time explosives in it that you're going to need for the last battle. And then you got this wet garage. It's got 2 vehicles in it, an underwater engineering vehicle, and then kind of like a sea sled. So that's a pretty cool thing that you're going to need, the sea sled, for that last battle. Now, one thing that's cool is you've got these events that are going to happen. The first one is, and these can happen just whenever you decide, or the players decide they put themselves in that situation, they're going to restore the power. And they're going to leave the facility, like I spoke about, to go outside. It's going to have all the rules that you need should you travel outside. We've got another cool map right here. Tiamat Station, we got this power conduit that you just need to travel by beside it. It's going to take you to the geothermal relay station, where you'll be able to hopefully put back on the power. And then whenever you were coming back, you were going to be attacked by this shelled flare up here, this huge monstrous beast. And it's going to attack you as you try to make it back to the station. If you have anybody that has been stayed behind, they're in that dome watching. They can get on that gun and help shoot and fire at this thing and hopefully make it so that you won't be killed by it, because it's pretty nasty. And that's what it's talking about right here. In case you want to attack it. The other thing is infiltration. So there is a group of turds. They're called aliens and clear brain. There's a couple things here that travel from Oceanus to try to attack the station. And a shrimpian. I like the names of these things. Here's a cool piece of art showing you attacking them. They infiltrate the station, going through the way of the wet garage. You are going to have to try to repel this attack. There's also that creature that's in the very beginning right here that has, you can see through its head right here, you can see kind of its brain and stuff. That's that clear brain. And these are some of the intruders from Oceanus. And so you need to repel them off, or they're going to do some damage to the station. They don't really care about whether or not it survives or not. They might try to destroy the power station area of the Tiamat station. And so you need to stop them. So it's a pretty cool little big battle that you're going to have. And then you're going to have annihilation. We're going to come back to this map right here. Now you're probably going to need to get that sled. Of course, there could be other things that you can figure out as well. You need to go down this paved sea road to this abyssal shelf. And down below is going to be Oceanus. So as you travel this way, should you be bright and loud with your lights on the sled and stuff like that, you're going to be setting yourself up for an ambush. This guy right here looks very cool. They're going to be ready here on this hydro lift to attack you. You've got Fangmouths, the Killer Star, a Meltamanta, and a Glowy Sergeant. A lot of these are depicted here in this piece of art, which I really like that. And so hopefully you will be quiet as you try to sneak your way there. You'll have a big shootout with them, and then hopefully you will survive and lower down the explosives, which they're very, very explosive, these explosions that are going to go off. And so you're going to need to get out of there and hopefully not get destroyed on your way back out or in. And here it talks about ending the adventure once you're able to drop those explosives down on Oceanus. And a fantastic piece of art right here of Oceanus blowing up. And you can see we've got our heroes down here as the domes explode. And it gives you some rules should you not fully blow up this station. They will regroup and attack at a later time. but that will hopefully help you out. Sheshma, of course, will be able to fire back up the drone ship and be able to take you wherever you want to go. She'll also do that mental expansion if you want it. Here is the atmospheric diving suits, the ADS, so rules for them. Emergency nano repair bot, you'll use that on the energy, the power relay station. And then there's a sonic carving knife, which is very helpful as well. And there's the back of the adventure there. So I love underwater stuff. Anything, when I was a kid, I used to just love stuff that was based underneath the water. I loved swimming. I loved diving down and things like that. So if you like movies like The Abyss, and like I said earlier, Leviathan, Deep Star 6, there's a whole bunch of those type movies. This just fits into it so well. Between the great maps, the atmosphere that you're going to be able to recreate for your players, the noises, the dripping water, maybe it's making some sounds, of the place, maybe just how the atmosphere that it makes, things that are just out of light when you're swimming, you're trying to traverse to the relay station. You could just see that in the shadows. It's going to give a cool kind of horror feel to it. I mean, really, underwater bases and space bases are kind of the same. So that kind of feel that you're going to be doing, your players exploring stuff and out of their element. Truly is a fish out of water story here, but it's going to be really, really cool and have a big dramatic ending that the players will hopefully feel good about, that they stopped this huge force from destroying the surface world. And it's kind of like that unsung hero type thing where nobody really knows, but y'all were able to accomplish this. And make sure that the surface has not been destroyed or defaced by these turds. So there it is. It's a really cool adventure. I really enjoyed reading it. It's got some really great write-ups. Again, great atmosphere, great maps, a good bit of adventure when it comes to creatures, different types of monsters that you'll know from ocean life, and then that cool traversal to the relay station as you're in your suits and you're walking together in this this bizarre environment that hopefully will have some good scares for the players as well. It's just a really fun adventure. I mean, it's exactly pretty much what you kind of want from Mutant Crawl Classics or any type of post-apocalyptic game. Stuff but then it's a great story of, saving the day. And yeah, it's a fun one. Highly recommend you check this one out. Into the Glowing Depths. Again, Michael Curtis always does great stuff here. Look forward to making my Mutant Crawl Classics video. It should be a very interesting one. I haven't done one of those since, of course, my Dungeon Crawl Classics video years ago. So I've got a lot to say about Mutant Crawl Classics. I love the adventures. I think they're great. I love the vibe that it has. And I hope to be able to really break down what Mutant Crawl Classics has to offer and some of the stuff it could do better, unfortunately, the main core book, and what kind of happened with the book. It's been a kind of a difficult situation, just the way that the game turned out. It was disappointing to some people, and I'm going to be talking about that in that video. So there it is, Into the Glowing Depths. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Check this out, add it to your collection, and thanks a lot.